Yeah. Elisabetta. Per mostrare quello sì.
Questo qui, una doccia è tipo di
No. No violentina.
Così io parlo quanto dai? Sì.
Sono riuscita a fare danni.
Non c'è più le...
Qua comunque.
No,
Non
stai.
sei.
Ah, ok. Allora, Tiziana, stai seduta. Chiediamo...
Devo solo...
No, l'ho solo aperto sul... Aspetta. Ah, ok. Allora. group. Ah, forse è qui così. Aspetta che lo... Ah, non vedi più niente. Ok. So I think we can start. Welcome everybody to this working group. I hope that those who are online can hear me. Okay, so thank you very much, and apologies for being so late. I would like to introduce myself and the colleagues that you see at the table. First of all, my name is Michele Nicoletti, and I am the coordinator of the Ocean program, which is the Open Council of Europe Academic Networks. The idea is to create a network of universities and research centers all over Europe, in the sense of the pan-Europe included in the Council of Europe member states, that is 46 countries, creating a network focused on the different conventions of the Council of Europe. And this is a new program that has been recently approved by the Council of Europe, and that we have launched in these days under the with the support of the Italian presidency of the Council of Europe, which is in this semester. And we are very pleased to start our project with the first network, academic network, on a convention of the Council of Europe, namely on the Istanbul Convention, that is the, as you all know, the Convention against gender and domestic violence. We have created in Italy a project which is called UNIRE, that is a network of universities on the Istanbul Convention. They have been working for 2 or 3 years together, and they have been working on different fields of activity that you may see in the screen. I hope that you can see the screen in which you see the fields for possible action. That is research, education, training, creation of observatory of national, regional legislation, dissemination and awareness. Okay, thank you very much for your confirmation. Dissemination and awareness raising and programs, joint programs made by summer schools or other joint programs for students or for professionals which have been organized in Italy. At the moment, this project have involved 10 universities in Italy, but 50 or 60 new universities have expressed the interest to be part of this project. And we would like now to extend this project to all the different countries of the Council of Europe. Yesterday, during another session, we had the contribution of Renate Klein, who is the coordinator of the European Network on Gender and Violence. So there is already, it is already active, a strong relationship with that kind of European network. But we would like very much to strengthen our relationship and to invite all the scholars, researchers, teachers, PhD students of the different countries to join this kind of cooperation. And this is why during this session we have created this group, which is devoted to the internationalization, that is exactly to the extension of this Italian project to all the other European countries. And I would like to thank very much the colleagues and experts who are following our session. I would like also to introduce my colleagues who are here at the table. On my right, Professor Elisabetta Strickland from the University of Rome, and Dr. Olaf Kundgen, who is the project manager of the Ocean project from the Council of Europe Strasbourg, and my colleague Tiziana Faitini from the University of Trento, who is a member of our research unit in Trento. So I would like to give the floor now to Professor Strickland for her intervention, and then to Dr. Kundgen, and then we will open the discussion, and those who are online, of course, can react, asking questions or making her the remarks and comments to what they have heard till now. So, Elisabetta, thank you.
Thank you very much. We have heard during these 2 days of work together with the organizers of the project UNIRE, the importance within the rankings, national and international, of the universities, of the way they face the various problems, especially violence. I am starting from a point of view which has not been touched up to now, the war. As you know, there are winds of war in Europe, and one of the effects of this war was the necessity to host people working in universities in Ukraine and also in Russia, who are against the, let's say, the current situation, and asked to be helped in finding a job which could be also not permanent in various universities, possibly in Europe or in other countries. Our country, Italy, reacted in a very strong way, and the Minister of Research and University, Maria Cristina Messa, said in various situations that she hopes that part of the recovery plan is going to be used to create positions which are open also, of course, to the foreigners who come from these countries. This was a way to understand how important internationalization is. As a matter of fact, within our universities, there are different situations according to the geographical situation of the university or the tradition of the university. I work in the University of Tor Vergata in Rome, and we experienced there the effect of internationalizations in helping against violence on women. How? Well, as there is a special course, a bachelor degree called Global Governance, inside this course, half of the students are women, and half of the students overall are people coming from foreign countries. These people, during their staying in Rome, they were for the first time in our country, had to face various problems, also difficulties in interacting one with the other. And they had also strong situation close to violence. So how did it work? I saw that having different cultures and different attitudes towards the problem of violence against women is quite helpful. To have people in university of different nationalities is very useful in using their different cultures in order to block these forms, which are really dangerous for a university. Of course, this morning we heard the person in charge of the committees in equal opportunities in Italy that are asked to do something concrete with various initiatives in order to help in this direction. But from what I experienced personally in charge of these committees in my university, I saw that this is true, but also one has to organize special things. Special things means that taking under consideration the fact that jobs, of course, now are offered to people of all nations. So one has to help this trend of internationalization in order to have a situation in which women are welcome in these positions and helped, if there are difficulties, to face them and to go ahead. There is no form of violence, let's say, strong as the one of forbidding a woman to realize herself. This we have seen in this current and bad situation of the war. It's very sad for a woman, especially, to leave her country, taking her family, children more than the men, because they had to stay there and face the war, and find a solution for their work. Luckily, Maria Cristina Messa, our minister, organized fellowships and positions using a big quantity of funds in order to allow these people to face this period. Of course, this is not easy, but it's working. We have seen in these 2 months that they actually are hosted in various institutions, academic institutions, and they are actually trying to survive to this situation. This wouldn't be possible without a strong effort in internationalization. So, of course, this is a point of view. Violence can be of different kinds. One example, and this is maybe one of the most effective, is that two years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, a movie went around in the universities around the world called Picture a Scientist, which was sponsored by the American philanthropist Jim Simons, who gives money for this kind of initiatives. And in this movie, about 10 professors of American universities have told their story of violence inside the universities in order to see how they faced it. And the way they faced it was with a network between themselves and other people. In one case, it took 30 years to punish the person who had, let's say, disturbed, well, this is a soft word, this professor in biology, because, of course, when you start with a job university, if you are a victim of violence, well, you have to be very careful because you could lose your job. It could be could have strong consequences. So some of them reacted only when their position was a stable one. And this is very sad because they suffered during all these years. This movie was a real success, and it showed to the community how this kind of problems have to be faced. So in Italy, we saw some examples which were really important. For instance, the CERN in Geneva took a decision of interrupting the collaborations with Russian physicists. This was very strong, and there was a strong reaction. But we have to understand that there are many women inside the CERN and outside the CERN. Many scientists around Europe are women. So if the community takes advantage of the internationalization inside their university, can face much better all these kind of problems. In Italy also, we have many examples. One maybe of, and this is the last one I'm going to make, there is the, every 4 years, the Congress of Mathematicians, in which the Fields medals, which are the analogous of the Nobel Prizes. There is no Nobel Prize for mathematics, and this is the same thing for mathematicians, are given. So this year, it should have been done in St. Petersburg, but due to the war situation and also the pandemic, it has been organized for the first time online. Among the speakers, there were 4, I would like to stress this, 4 Italian women mathematicians. These ladies would have been extremely happy to be in St. Petersburg and give their talks in presence with 5,000 people listening to him. Unluckily, they will compel to do this online. And these Italian ladies, I would like to say their names: Corina Ucigrai, Barbara Fantecchi, Michela Procesi. They really are very sad because of this situation. This is a form of violence to my eyes. I hope this will work out. And as I said before, I sincerely believe that one of the form of violence against women is to forbid them to realize themselves also in the academic world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed for sharing with us your thoughts, and especially for mentioning these concrete examples of violence and discrimination even within the academic world in universities and research centers, and having emphasized how a real effort of internationalization, especially for those countries who do not have strong links with the international scientific community, could really be relevant for implementing the full respect of women's right and gender equality. Dr. Köngen, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Professor Nicoletti. Thank you also for your short introduction into what ocean is meant to be. We have worked around 2 years preparing ocean. There were quite a few challenges to overcome. I've shortly mentioned that yesterday. First of all, there were a number of country visits already that had taken place when I personally joined the project in March 2020, and then basically a week after I had joined, COVID struck heavily, and there was a lockdown in France and in many other countries, which prevented us from visiting more potential collaborating countries such as Germany, Italy, etc. So a lot of the meetings took place online. So we did it anyway. We had to cope with the situation just like anybody else. It didn't diminish our enthusiasm for the project, which is a project I think that is long overdue. Professor Nicoletti suggested that during his presidency of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, if I'm not mistaken, 2018. And this is, if I get it right, also the starting year of UNIRE. In a way, these two development lines, on the one hand, UNIRE developing in Italy, and on the other hand, on the other track, Ocean developing in Strasbourg, are now coming together. And I must say, I'm really pleased that this is the case. It has been mentioned that there are practically no national or other networks existing on Council of Europe conventions, basically with two exceptions. The one exception is the network on the Council of Europe Social Charter, which is a Europe-wide network. It has been introduced yesterday during the session in the Senate. And but that network is, let's say, operating in a rather autonomous way. And then the second network is UNIRE. And this is, for us, a wonderful starting point, or a wonderful cooperation partner for a number of reasons. First of all, UNIRE, in a way, and because it has already been operative for 4 years, has gathered a lot of experience. It has developed a large number of cooperation formats which have been used here in Italy. And so in that way, they have set an example of how such a network can be done. Then secondly, UNIRE is now at the stage where it will expand into all of Italy, from a limited network of 10 cooperating universities into a network that will cover a lot more and will truly become a national network covering all of Italy. So these formats it has developed will certainly then be used also with the new partners, with the new universities joining the Italian network UNIRE. But our plans are going further than that. We are here to talk about internationalization. Clearly, with basically by being the one thematic network, national network that exists, in that case, working on the Istanbul Convention, these formats can also be used, these formats of cooperation can also be used in an international sense. So we have invited a number of international observers. I don't know how many are online right now and how many of them have been able to join this session. I hope the technical difficulties were overcome and you could all use the links we sent you. And I also hope that we can have a discussion later on. So the idea is I consider these observers, as we call them, as like a kind of pioneering group for a future cooperation between UNIRE and other European universities, because the plan is to go one step further. So the first step is making UNIRE basically an all-Italian network, and then hopefully in the second half of this year we will be able to make UNIRE also an international network. And in that process, other European universities, mostly probably represented by individual scholars, will join this internationalization process and will at the same time benefit from the experience UNIRE has gathered so far, and at the same time, it's not a one-way street, of course, will also join by contributing their experience in the field. So talking about formats, I will just name a few of the thoughts we have. Obviously, research that has been done on the Italian arena can be internationalized. There can be, I think there's a lot of room for comparative research between Italy and other countries, or also basically, having the experience gathered elsewhere and feeding into joint research projects. We can think of PhD projects that are also crossing borders, so to speak. One thing that would be certainly a goal is curricular development. As you all are well aware, when law faculties, for example, faculties in the humanities, talk about European law, they very often talk mostly about law of the European Union. Though obviously lawyers know, or international lawyers are aware of the body of law the Council of Europe has developed over the years. Clearly, there is a lot of room for improvement with regard to spreading this knowledge. And one way of spreading it would be to integrate it also into curricula. So this is, of course, a task of those who are in the field, professors who are also basically teaching at law faculties and other faculties, to think of how, for example, the conventions of the Council of Europe, in this case, the Istanbul Convention, but obviously we are talking about all active conventions in this project because it's really a transversal project that is much bigger than the Istanbul Convention, how these conventions can be taught to young students and how the knowledge of the body of law the Council of Europe has developed over the decades can be spread. Then summer schools, for example, are a format that can be thought of. We have a suggestion. Actually, we had two suggestions. One was unfortunately from Russia, so that's not going to happen. But we have another one from France for 2023. So for the next summer, we will be working on that. That will not be on the Istanbul Convention, but on anti-corruption. Nevertheless, that's a good development and can be emulated either here or elsewhere. Then a very demanding, there are two very demanding and very ambitious ideas. One is, we have heard that this morning in the video, a Council of Europe Academy. I think this is a very appealing idea, though very ambitious at this moment, because it would require certainly substantial resources. Nevertheless, when we think of the Collège de l'Europe and its success, and I've heard a number of participants yesterday and today who were telling me, oh, I met such and such participant at the Collège de l'Europe. So this is clearly a meeting point where lifelong partnerships are being shaped. So it would be fantastic if in a number of years, once the number of active active ocean networks has been consolidated, we could think of bringing these networks together and maybe have also a physical place in the form of an academy where all this acquired knowledge and it could come together. That's one very ambitious idea I'm dreaming of, and we all can dream of that. And then the other one is the question of how can we develop in ocean tangible products that are recognizable in the field by participants, by contributing universities, products that are of use. So one idea on the table, and that was developed in cooperation with our French partners, with whom we are now trying to establish this year a second ocean network. And I hope at some point UNIRE and that network can also connect to exchange information. It will work on anti-corruption. And we basically came to the conclusion that there is a huge lack of research, and there's also a huge lack of knowledge on the state of corruption in the different member countries of the Council of Europe. And I personally, I had a very interesting meeting with a leading person in the field of France's combat against corruption, who told me that if they want to know about the state of corruption, they would go in France. They would go and check the Transparency International report. But as we know, this report is basically a perception index. It's not based on academic research, and this is a very big difference. So what's lacking here is a yearbook on the state of corruption in the Council of Europe member states. So that's also very ambitious, but I think it can be done. There are a number of yearbooks on all kinds of things. I mean, for example, I personally know an Islamophobia yearbook where every year researchers put together the state of the field, so to speak. And this could be done on basically many topics here. I don't know. I mean, I may be wrong, but my best guess is that also in the field of domestic violence, this kind of yearbook doesn't exist, does it? I don't think so. No. So we can dream of putting something like that together as soon as we have a substantial number of countries together working on these areas, but in an international way of, or in an international modus operandi. So these are just some ideas I wanted to share with you, and I'm looking forward to our fruitful discussions in the next 2.5 hours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olaf, for having described the history of this project at the European level and his concrete development. You mentioned some initiatives that can be taken starting from now, and we are working at them in order to make them possible, especially for young students working at summer schools or graduate conferences, and this is something that can be done very easily by all the university and research centers, and I would like to invite all the people who are following us to express their interest in this field. And then thank you also for having mentioned our dream, something which is, of course, in the horizon, if not really for today, but certainly for tomorrow. This ambition of creating a kind of Council of Europe Academy. The United Nations have their own initiative, that is the United Nations Academic Initiative. The European Union has many institutions. You mentioned the Collège d'Europe, but also the European Institute in Florence, and maybe in the future the Council of Europe can have something similar. So before giving the floor to Marina Callone, who is the coordinator of UNIRE and can certainly say something about this Italian project, I would like to ask our guests online if they have any questions on the project, so Marina can answer to the questions, or if they would like to make their comments. At this stage, we are very interested in having new people on board coming from different European countries. And so if you can please introduce briefly yourself and express also your personal interest or the interest of your institutions or of colleagues that you know in your university or in your country that can be contacted in order to strengthen this networking around the Council of Europe conventions. If you would like to intervene, you can just switch on the video and take the floor.
Well, to guide you guys, my name is, I'm having problems with the sound, I'm afraid. My name is,
Just a minute,
I don't know, can you hear me now? I'm afraid I cannot hear you, but I don't know if I can be heard.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, now without any problems. When I speak, I have certain reverberation, but I hope I can say what I was about to say without many problems, at least for you when you hear me. My name is Carolina Villacampa. I come from the University of Lleida in northeast of Spain, and I'm working on gender violence. I'm a criminal lawyer, by the way. I've been working on gender violence for, say, the last 15 years of my career. And of course, as an expert on gender violence, I'm very grateful that you have me invited to this meeting, and I'm very, very grateful to hear the explanations of Elizabeth Stiglin and Olaf Tongen as well, because things that were sent to us, at least in my case, were not working very well. So unfortunately, I didn't follow the session of yesterday afternoon and early this morning. But anyway, my intervention here is only to say that, of course, I'm interested to intervene in an international network of universities and researchers working on gender and domestic violence and on other kinds of victimization as well. I think I can offer, the options that the university can offer to other researchers to lead in this network. And I would like to say that I'm a member of a cost action on cultures of victimology. In fact, I'm a member of the management committee of this cost action. It's composed by 34 countries, and now.
For interrupting you, Carolina, sorry, but we have some technical problems with the audio and we cannot understand really very well what you are saying.
Nobody can.
And also the other cannot.
The headphones.
Can you please just put off your headphones?
Headphones, yeah, I'll try.
Try to do like that.
It's better now? Can
Yeah.
you hear me better?
Yes.
So, well, what I was trying to convey was that, I was saying that I'm willing to intervene in international network to research and to like create work of research on gender violence, perhaps to who knows, be able to put this wish expressed by Olaf Lundgren, being part of a Council of Europe Academy.
Sorry, but I have to stop you again.
But
we need.
anyway, it's to show my interest. Since there are problems with sound, I will email anything I have to say, only to show my interest and to offer myself as intermediate partner in order to put you in contact with researchers being part of this cost action in order to widespread this network. Thanks very much.
No, thanks to you. Thanks for your patience and understanding. Thank you very much. It would be very nice of you if you can share your thoughts and your contacts per email. But maybe we can try now to solve these technical problems so that we can continue the conversation in better condition. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have something written, you can send it via chat or per email so that we can have it now. I don't know if somebody else would like to take the floor just to see if these technical problems regard everybody in the meeting or just Carolina.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Rosanne, okay.
Yeah.
I think that we have the same problem, but
I'm sorry. So it's the same for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to email it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rosanna, where are you from? Are you from Salerno?
University of Salerno.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Carolina Villacampa, could you please tell us from which university you are? Oh, thank you. University of Leiden. So we are now receiving some messages from you.
Ho chiesto che ci rimane il tecnico che è scomparso dalla circolazione.
In any case, if you can hear us, I would like to give the floor to Professor Calloni. So maybe, Marina, you... Yeah, we have just mentioned the main fields of activity of the UNIRE project, just mentioning research, teaching, training of professionals, and so on. So you can certainly add something more in detail. I think you have to switch on your microphone, or yeah.
Thank you very much. I try to summarize what we have done. I said we have started from, a small group, a scientific group related to a prize for the best thesis, doctorate thesis, PhD thesis, or master thesis on the Istanbul Convention. And then we were supported by, with funds by the Department of Equal Opportunity. So we started just to try to apply at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles of the Istanbul Convention related to the prevention of gender-based violence. And so we had developed in 18 months some actions and, project developed by 10 universities or research units, which, refer to 10 different universities, Italian universities, which are representative of different regions at the territorial level. That is North, Central, and South Italy. And the colleagues who are members of the first part of the UNIRE project have different competencies, and also they are teaching and researching different fields. So in the third part of our project, when after the end of our fund, we developed, also we tried to develop to just to try to understand the methods we, in such a way, we created. And the method we used in the 3 main areas, that is teaching, research, and third mission, was a holistic and comprehensive method where different social actors are involved at the level of educational and training and formation level. This alliance between academics, anti-violence centers, institutions, and so on. Research, we have developed some points which have been neglected also in, in mainstream researches. And third mission, we have developed also activity of awareness at the territorial level. This method is quite unique, and we have indicated also this approach in a book we have edited, and you can see also on the web page of our UNIRE with also videos and so on. Now the next part of our network is after the recognition by the Council of Europe of UNIRE as an academic network, is just to create an association, so that we can also try to also give funds and so on, because the problem is that in the last year, we just used our, research fund and so on. So this association will be composed mainly by academics, but with in a strict connection with civil societies, other institutions, and so on. And this is what we are doing now. And in the last 2 days, yesterday we had this audit at the Chamber of Deputies with the Council of Europe Commission on Culture, and also some presentations. And today we are aimed at elaborating in 8 different working groups some issue which we think are basic and crucial for a first development of UNIRE, not only at the national level, but at the international level too. And it means that the 8 streams we are working about, colleagues are working on these topics is formation, education, research, permission, internationalization, that is this present group, then legislations and jurisprudence. 6th group is on intersectionality. 7 groups on best practices, because it's also, we want just to see what we can share also with other universities and working group. And the 8th is services and different kinds also devoted to students and so on, because of course at the university there are not only professors, researchers, but also technicians, personnel, and of course students. And yesterday we had also the presentation of the president of the National Committee of University Students, and he raised a crucial question, that is a problem of the harassment in academies, at the university. And he talked about the peer harassment, between students, but also chair harassment. That means between professor on academics and the students. So this is another huge problem we are dealing with. So this is today afternoon, the 8th groups, working groups, will report at the at the final meeting, at the second plenary of this day or today, the 8 groups will report about the work that they have done, but mainly about new perspectives, because each university or each representative, each academic has today to also to tell what are they doing and whether their experiences can be replied also in other universities. And yesterday we were asked just to say whether our approach, how we are applying articles of the Istanbul Convention can be applied in other national contexts, and we think could be the case. And today, we'll summarize the work, the outputs of these working groups, and then in the end also later, in the next days, we'll elaborate a final document. which is meant also to be a sort of platform for action, just to share with Italian and European universities. Thank you. I don't know whether there are questions.
So thank you so much, Marina. We still have some technical problems, but we can read your messages. So if you have questions, please write them in the chat.
And just to send perhaps also your
Marina,
question to Professor.
Marina, there is a question. What is your level of interaction and cooperation with the Grevio?
With the Grevio. Oh, yes. In 2019, when the Grevio came to Italy for monitoring Italy, we were also invited to the audit as a representative of the Italian academic systems. And after that, we sent also a document called recommendations, and you can find it in the page of Italy, where we had we raised some crucial issues. And after that, if you look at the Grevio report about Italy, the Grevio also mentioned UNIRE as a good practice that other so to say countries can take advance of, or to take, to start from this. So we are very honored that the Grevio mentioned our network as a good practice, and is the reason why we are the first academic network just aimed at, contributing to apply the articles of the Istanbul Convention. Said we are focused on the articles related to the collection of data, to general obligations, and the part related to prevention. So we are working with the Grevio yesterday in our plenary. In the afternoon, our plenary section, you can see it also on YouTube, on our channel. Our channel, UNIRE channel. Also, the intervention by Simona Lanzoni, who is the deputy, the vice president of Grevio. So we have, a very good contact, and we have already mentioned in 2019 in the Italian, in the report on Italy.
So thank you so much. In the meanwhile, we have received some messages, expression of interest from your side, from Spain, from Salerno, Italy, from Poland, Krakow, from Germany, and we are very grateful. It seems that now we are able to hear your voice. If somebody would like to take the floor, we can make another.
May I add something, Michele? I would like also that we are pleased and honored to have such, such interest by other colleagues, European colleagues, but it's very important just to get emails and just to have also information about the interested colleagues, and perhaps also Michele and or Olaf, what's your name? Olaf. Olaf can then forward us. Otherwise, you can get information about our network in UNIRE. You can Google UNIRE UNIMIB, UNIMIB. That means University of Milano Bicocca, where UNIRE is formally based. And so that you can start to see what I've done. Unfortunately, the page is in Italian, but you can have a look about what we have done, and you see it on the bottom of the page, of the web page. And then if Olaf can help us just to gather, the interest, manifestation of interest. And but we have also an email and Google and all possible. I don't know whether you think about the organization just to get a manifestation of interest.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. I think that's a very important point. I think most of those who are present online now have received the invitation to this session from me. So you have my my connection, my email address. So please, any comments, any expressions of interest, any suggestions, whatever you would like to contribute, please send it to me, and I will certainly take the appropriate steps, and I will also connect with UNIRE then. And so I see it, we are all together in the same boat in this, and we will definitely turn this into something fruitful in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Olaf. I'm sure that you all have the contact details of Olaf Kühningen in Strasbourg. And now we are writing in the chat the email of the UNIRE project so that you can get in touch directly with the coordinators of the Italian network.
Olaf, perhaps after this conference, you can also try to ask to a broader audience of European university who are our colleagues who are interested, just to have further information And then you can also organize a video conference so that we can explain properly, also with slides and so on, the project. And I mean, summarizing what we have said yesterday in the audit at the Chamber of Deputies with the Cultural Commission, so that we can share broader information, because now I realize that it's very short time, and perhaps it's not clear, and perhaps there are more questions for a broader audience of European universities.
Yes, thank you, Marina. I think that's a very good and pertinent idea. I mean, as you all know, the invitation to this conference was rather at short notice. So many of the people I wrote to could not make it. They told me they were very interested, but unfortunately they had other commitments. So the kind of cooperation we have in mind is a process, obviously, and having another online conference before the summer, I think that's a very, very good idea, and I'm happy to be instrumental in organizing that, and we will then get on board those who are with us today, hopefully again, and then those who were invited and unfortunately couldn't make it. And then, of course, there is a lot of others we missed out so far. I will certainly do my part of the research in order to identify institutions and individual scholars and academics that can be invited to the discussions. And yes, and then hopefully it's now 11th of May. I hope we can organize that still before the summer break. Also, summer break is a fluent concept. I don't know when the summer break starts. Really, in the north, it is a different concept than in the south. So whether we can still do that in June, I don't know, but we could possibly aim for that. Yeah, and then in the second half of the year, then hopefully we can do something more substantial and really go into the official expansion of the network after having had these preliminary discussions, if that is something you can agree to.
We have a lot of academic commitments. Also would be very important just to schedule all these processes on time in advance, so that we can also prepare also just also slides and so on. So we have to agree about different steps.
Yes, absolutely. So I think there's some homework to be done, and we will keep in touch and do that homework. And then once we are set and ready, we will inform everybody involved. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you again. I wonder if there are any other questions or comments. As I said, we can try if the audio is now working. Otherwise, if there are no more comments or questions, I think that we can...
Perhaps, Michele, if they have further questions, they can write to Olaf, and we'll try to answer also to these questions during the, when we'll summarize also this working group for the plenary section, and so that we can also, if they have to think about, I don't know.
Thank you. So the idea is, if you have any question or comments or suggestion or expression of interest, please get in touch with Olaf Kungen. You have received the email address in this chat. And in any case, the idea is to organize a new video conference with the broader audience as soon as possible. in order to continue the conversation and to involve more and more people in this initiative. So I would like to thank you very much also for your understanding for the technical difficulties that we had during the session. But our hope is to have the opportunity to meet you in person in one of the future meetings of the Ocean Program. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to Marina, Olaf, and Elisabetta, and see you soon.
Very interesting for me, and I'm interested in both networks, UNIRE and Marina, as I told her, and also Ocean. So if I can give you my, I'm interested personally and also as university, Sapienza.